beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Hey guys, welcome back to Francesca's Books. My name is Francesca, these are my books, and here we talk about all things thriller books. And today, because it is so cold outside, so snowy, literally, in the UK, who would have ever guessed, I'm going to start a winter thriller vlog. You guys very much enjoyed my winter thriller book recommendations, and I thought this is quite an area that like people never really like read exclusively. Like everyone goes for Christmas thriller books, and let me tell you, they don't exist. Well, the good ones don't exist. I have read quite a lot over my time of Christmas thriller books, and I've never read one and I've thought, yeah, brilliant, absolutely love that. Like, it's always either a Detective Inspector series. There is a very popular one, which I'll pop the covers of here, and I've read a couple of those. I did like them, but they're nothing mind-blowing. And then you've got the other side of the scale where they're like mysteries, like locked in on Christmas Day mysteries, and like they barely border on a thriller. Like, barely even a mystery. So I'm going to read some winter thrillers, some really good, hopefully, thrillers that are just set like around the winter period, and I think some of them may be set over Christmas, but they're not Christmas books. And because it's me, no doubt there'll be a Christmas rom-com palette cleanser in there somewhere, because I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. I mean, is it really a palette cleanser if you're reading like 2 or 3 a month? Nobody at me. So I have picked out the books that I'm going to read in this vlog, and spoiler, one of them is going to be an advance copy of Freida McFadden's newest book, which is out in January, which is indeed a winter thriller. However, I'm going to start with a book that I've had on my shelf for a little while, and it's quite short, so I feel like it's a good one to start off this vlog. And this book has had some mixed reviews, if I'm being honest. I've not heard everyone be like, oh my god, I love it, but I still really want to give it a go. And it is Geneva by Richard Armitage. Hey buddy. Hi, do you want to come here? Good boy. We have a friend. So if you guys don't know, I am actually moving house soon. I've got a very big series on my new home library coming out shortly. However, when I move, I won't have this guy anymore. So back to the books. Geneva is set, believe it or not, in Geneva, and it follows this award-winning scientist called Sarah Collier, who has a Nobel Prize. She's developed all these cures for lots of things that are very important, and she gets invited to this like really exclusive important PR event for like some new technology, and her husband is invited as well, like as her +1, but he's also a scientist, but hasn't been invited as a scientist. He's been invited as a +1, and I think there may be something there. So she basically has a degenerative brain condition. They're not sure if it's Alzheimer's or not, and she is just really like losing it with everything. And I think the main premise of this is going to be like, can she trust herself or can she trust those around her? And I imagine there's going to be something significant goes down in the middle of the book. So this is super short, it's only 270 pages, and I imagine I can probably read this in a couple of days. So of course I will keep you updated. So I have actually already read about 50 pages so far, but nothing really more than the synopsis that I've just told you has happened. They have just got to the facility in Geneva. That's literally all that's happened so far. They were debating going, and then they're like, no, let's go. Which isn't really a spoiler. The book's set there. So we'll chat soon. The short chapters in this are really doing it for me. Like, I'm very much enjoying that. It makes the book so much easier to read. However, I'm not sure where this book is gonna go, because she's basically just been coerced into going to this like PR event for a new technology about Alzheimer's, which is what she's saying she doesn't have, or she's not sure if she has. I'm not really sure where the thriller aspect is coming from. It's just a bit of setup so far, so. There's been a midway plot twist. One I kind of suspected, but like I'm still really impressed, because this book was kind of getting a little bit, now about 40% of the way in, and there's been some good twists. So at first it was a little bit scientific for me, I think. Like, it's very heavy on like the new technology that they're launching in Geneva for this like Alzheimer's cure, memory enhancement situation. I feel like this will be quite good for people who like dark matter and artificial wisdom. Like, it's very much that vibe of like futuristic thriller, but now we're getting into the actual good bit of thriller that I really enjoy. The twists, the people who are not being honest. Also, one of the characters had like a skiing accident, and I feel like it's just very winter themed appropriate. Like, I'm literally sat freezing cold right now. It's like -4. No, it's -3. That's an exaggeration, but it really like, I'm really feeling like the cold vibes of this book. Are you kidding me? Why are you doing her over like that? Why? So big plot twist. Did see it coming. Second big plot twist. Are you having a giggle? I'm shocked. This book has got so many negative reviews from what I've seen, and I'm really enjoying it. I still have about 20 pages left. I wanted to check in before the actual end, because I feel like sometimes the very end of books, like, you kind of end it on a high and you're like, yeah, that was amazing, it was amazing. So I wanted to give like an actual reaction before I finished it. But I have really enjoyed this book. Okay, quick interlude to this vlog, because I've just been on TikTok, like looking in my comments, and I keep saying how The Drowning Woman by Robin Harding isn't published in the UK. Someone commented saying Waterstones have it. So currently in Manchester, I'm going to go to the big Arndale Waterstones and hopefully they have it. Okay, it's not in hardback section. However, this looks good. I loved both of these. This is very disappointing. That was extremely disappointing. Not trusting TikTok comments again. No, I'm kidding. It's probably just in a bigger Waterstones. Or maybe you can order online. I don't know. We live, we move. So I have finished Geneva. I really enjoyed this. I feel like because my expectation was quite low going in, that's maybe why I had a great time with it. There was definitely a lot of conversation around like the ethics of like biotech and science, specifically like the first half of this book. I feel like it definitely eased off the second half and got more into the actual thrill, but I feel like that conversation was quite well represented. Like, I obviously don't work in that field, so can't speak from the actual scientific point of view. However, I quite enjoyed like the moral debate. The suspense was solid in this as well, and I had plenty of plot twists. One of them was just like so like blindingly obvious. I was just like I didn't even realize it was a twist. However, it was definitely portrayed that way. The others, I didn't really guess, to be honest. Like, this took me on a bit of a journey that I quite enjoyed. There was like multiple ways that this could have gone, and I feel like it probably went the best way. Overall, I feel like it was definitely a satisfying read. Like, I mean, it's a short read. Like, you're not going to lose much time if you're only like half enjoying this. However, I do recommend it. I think it is a really good book to read like in the colder months at this time of year, and that's why we're reading it at the end of the day. Like, the scene setting is definitely prevalent. Like, you feel cold reading this. Like, obviously you're in Switzerland, like, but you feel cold. I can't really explain it. Like, at one point as well, some characters, won't say which, get stuck in like a snowed car situation. So that definitely set the tone as well. I struggle to rate this between a 3.5 and a 4 because it's not as good as some like 4-star thriller books I've read, because for me, a 4-star thriller book is like a really good book, really enjoyed it. Like, obviously there's room for improvement, but like, just really enjoyed it. Like, 4 stars a really good rating for me. And I feel like this was maybe a 3.5, but that seems too low because like I rate a lot of Freida McFadden books 3.5, and this had so much more depth to it, and like the plot twist definitely got me, like definitely caught me off guard. So I'm earing to a 3.5. So next up after that comment is Freida McFadden. This is a coincidence. I did not think about that whilst I was talking about that. However, this is a winter thriller. It's not released till January 2025, so it depends when you're watching this as to whether it's out. This is of course an advanced copy, but it's just a perfect winter thriller vibe as far as what I can read on the back. I also just know that I'm going to read this so fast. Like, this is just a perfect book to vlog because I know I'm going to read it in like 24, 48 hours. There's no other way with Freida McFadden books. So this time we're following Tegan. She's 8 months pregnant and she leaves her flat in a nice city life to escape and basically get stuck in a snowstorm / a crash. Is the vibe I'm getting so far. Don't know too much about this one. You guys know I like to go into my books like not blind, but just like, especially when it's an author that I like I just don't like to read much about the synopsis, or no, which kind of gives it away, kind of like makes it less exciting. But I feel like in this, since the synopsis says that she's pregnant like 3 or 4 times, it's gonna be, that's a massive part of this. Like, I don't think Freida would write a character that's 8 months pregnant if there wasn't gonna be something to do with it. But anyway, she gets stuck in a snowstorm after having a car crash, and she is just not in a good way. Is anyone gonna be looking for her? Who knows? We're gonna find out. What did I say, guys? I knew I would be reading this everywhere. So I literally read 80 pages last night in bed and then on the train this morning, and I don't know what she puts in these books. They are just so easy to read. Like, I actually can't even explain it. Like, she just has, I think it's because the writing itself is actually just so simple. Like, you can't not be able to follow it. So I'm around 80 pages in, and I do just feel like because Freida has written some questionable books recently, like in terms of quality. My expectations are like down here now, but I'm really enjoying it. I don't know whether it's just a reputation that I've put on her. I've like superimposed it onto her and been like, she can't write good books anymore. I think she can. However, what is this author's obsession with like the main characters being obsessed with something? So, co-worker, obsessed with turtles. There was like 200 mentions of turtles. In this book, our female main character, Tegan, calls her unborn child, 8 months pregnant, little tuna. And she doesn't just say once. She says it a lot. I nearly swore. That's how strongly I feel about this. Little tuna this, little tuna that. Apparently because she's like, that's the pregnancy craving that she's having is tuna. So, anyway, yeah, that's my opinion on that. So I have no doubt that I'll be able to get through a large majority of this in the next 24 hours. I also totally forgot to mention, yeah, indeed, she did have a car crash on the way to see her brother. She was just like leaving her like big city life. There was some complications. We got a little bit into the backstory of like why she's pregnant, who the dad is or maybe, and like just kind of what she's running from. But she was traveling to her brother, so we now know that the brother is going to be like, why didn't she turn up? So there is somebody looking for her, and she's been rescued by this lovely guy who just pulled up on the side of the road when he saw that she had a crash, taking her to his house where his wife is, and there's just a couple of them like looking after her. However, when she's got there, they've been like, the only like room we have available for you to stay in tonight, because obviously we can't go to the hospital because of the snow, winter vibes, is in the basement. I'm on page 188 and this has taken a turn. We've now got 2 points of view, I was thinking through it, 2 points of view and 2 different timelines. We've got before the crash, after the crash, told from 2 different perspectives. This just got a little bit more complicated. I feel like Freida's trying to give the housemaid, but like just in a different font. I honestly don't know what she puts in this. I'm nearly on page 200 and I've read it in like less than 24 hours. If you're in a reading slump, I think this may be your cure. It is also definitely giving like the winter vibes that we're after for this vlog. Like, it's working, it's doing the trick. I've honestly been so sad because I've barely had any time to read my book, and it's actually a book that I'm feeling really drawn to, like picking up, like I'm trying to make time for it when I don't actually have time for it, if that makes sense. However, it is the evening and I don't have any plans for the rest of the night, so I'm going to try and read as much as I can. Freida McFadden books really do get me just like so keen to pick it back up. I don't know what she puts in these books, honestly. I am maybe 2/3 of the way through now and it's getting a little bit repetitive, I won't lie, but just the way that she writes, I know that that's not going to last for long, so I'll keep you updated. Hello friends! So for those of you that have been following like my library update journey will have gathered that I have moved house as well, and tonight is actually the first night in the new house, which is very, very exciting. However, I did finish this book last night and just did not have the energy to update you. So I've got the energy to update you now, and also like it's given me a bit more time to like actually reflect on it instead of just being like bah, 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 which I think is a good thing. So last time I chatted to you guys, I was maybe at the 70%-ish mark, and last night I just sat down and I was like, I'm gonna finish this book. Like, I don't know why I'm not reaching for it anymore. At the beginning, I was so hooked. I was like, I think this is gonna be a new favorite. The more it went on, oh, guys, after about 55-60%, it got super repetitive all the way until the end. All the way until like 90-95%. I will say, based on Freida McFadden's recent output, this book was definitely of a higher quality. Like, absolutely. We're talking better than the teacher, better than the co-worker, better than the boyfriend, definitely. Like, no questions asked. And it was really nice to see, like, I felt like Freida was kind of like writing in a different way, which I think is super necessary. Sorry, at this point, it just is. I absolutely loved the messaging at the ending of this book as well. Like, it's not often Freida gives us an ending like this, and I think when you guys go on to like read this when it's out in January, you will completely agree. This is like abnormal that she gives us this. I can't really say any more than that without ruining it. However, there were definitely also some bits that just didn't make sense. Like, if you were even like partially sane, like even like just a little bit sane, you would not make the decisions that these characters made. Like, all of them, like not just Tegan, our main character, like the people whose cabin she was residing in as well, and felt herself in this not good situation. Like, all the supporting characters that we were introduced to like at the very beginning, all of them are just absolutely off the rocker, basically. Like, not even in a funny way, not even in like a ha ha ha, they're all so twisted. Like, You just wouldn't make these. You just wouldn't. You just wouldn't. Especially the husband and wife whose house she was like staying at to get out of the snow. The husband, if you've read it or when you read it, just message me because it's just stupid. So to summarise, great thriller for wintertime. Definitely gave Snowdon vibes. It's the perfect time of year to read it. However, be mindful, this is a popcorn thriller and that is exactly what you should expect from it. This is not the next Donna Tartt. So the next book I'm going to read, which I'm very, very excited to start, and I did say at the start of this vlog that I wouldn't be reading like Christmas specific books, but this one has come to my attention and I feel it would be a disservice not to read this for you guys and for myself. So the next book I'm going to read is Christmas Presents by Lisa Unger, and this is a Christmas thriller. And you guys know I have not yet found a good Christmas thriller, but this one sounds really promising because this is a like through and through thriller author who's just written a Christmas book, as opposed to like a Christmas thriller author just doing like detective series or mysteries, which is like all I can find. So I have like a really good feeling about this. So as far as I'm aware, in this book, somebody gets Christmas presents like delivered to them, but like they're really twisted. And I really hope that's what it's about, because that's a really good idea if no one's written that already. And that's not what this book is about. It is only a short one. I think it's only about 250 pages. So I'm going to start it now and keep you updated. So I started Christmas Presents last night and I listened to some on audio this morning. I've been like really enjoying audiobooks at the moment. I don't know what it is, maybe because my attention span's like a little bit lower, but I've just been really enjoying it and I'm really enjoying this book so far. So the prologue opens with this woman who's like really sassy. She's in a bar and she's a dancer, and then she sees this guy across the bar and he's like, do you want to go for a drink? And she's like, yeah, all right, go on then. And she's brilliant. I really liked her. Then the point of view switched to just this like woman who owns a bookstore. Like, yeah, goals, I get it, but I like the first girl more. So now the bookstore owner, which I'm guessing is like our actual FMC, had two friends in high school that went missing or unalived, not 100% sure on that. And there's a true crime podcaster comes to town, kind of giving Listen for the Lie, to try and like investigate like what's happening. Imagine a guy in a Santa mask kidnapping you. It's not what I asked for Christmas. So brief interlude in the vlog, because I go to the gym on a Friday. I really like force myself and make myself go, okay? The problem with that, sounds all great, doesn't it? The problem with that is the gym is literally right next to our works. So come with me to the works. If you think I'm exaggerating, it's a joke. Despite how big that works is, yeah, they don't actually have that good of a selection. Like, honestly, some of the smaller ones in the town centres are better. So I'm going to go to TK Maxx and cheer myself up. It is definitely past like shopping time, but I'm kind of enjoying the vibe. So the weather today is absolutely disgusting. Like, beyond a joke. It is so windy and so rainy. So I've literally popped out for a quick drive through and then I'm going to go back home to hibernate, which is actually such a like privilege for me because I always have so much on. The fact that I have nothing on the agenda today apart from reading and sorting out my library is like my ultimate goals. So I'm now about 70% of the way through, which isn't actually loads considering it's only like a 250 page book, but I am really, really liking this. I have a really good feeling this is going to turn out fabulously, honestly. So up until now, there's not been that much like Christmas reference. Like, it's been like quite wintry and there's been like nods to like Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas and everything else, but it's not been super Christmassy until like this point. And now we've got a guy in a Santa mask kidnapping people. So there's also this ongoing theme that our female main character is receiving Christmas presents every year, but we don't actually know like too much about the presents, and we definitely don't know who they're from. And I feel like that's where the title comes from. But then the title's also a bit of a nod to like other gifts, like emotionally, and like kind of like almost past trauma that you get at Christmas. Like, oh great, another Christmas present. So I'll definitely be able to finish this one today. I am finally setting up my library and I'm going to be listening on audio, so I will check in at the end and let you know what I think. So I finished Christmas Presents, and on my mission to find a great Christmas thriller book, I think I've done it. I really, really liked it. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was giving Listen for the Lie crossed with No Exit crossed with We Were Liars. Like, there was so many elements of this which I just absolutely loved. Don't get me wrong, it's not a 5-star. It didn't give me that 5-star feeling, but I was invested. It was a good length for what it was. I feel like if it was any longer, I may have been a bit like, the actual Christmas presents element really surprised me. Like, I'm not sure that's the right title for this book, but it works-ish. But the actual Christmas presents were a very different thing. It was predominantly a thriller book being set at Christmas with Christmas themes, as opposed to it being like built the other way around. So I think a lot of other books are Christmas first, thriller second, or like mystery second. This was very much a thriller, Christmas around it. And I just really like that. I feel like when you put Christmas at the centre, they always turn out to be like more like mystery. But this was definitely a thriller. Definitely a thriller. I highly recommend picking up this one if you haven't already this year. So to summarise, we've read 3 winter thriller books in this vlog, and I have enjoyed them all, to be honest. There's not any that I've been like, absolutely not. But obviously to varying degrees. So first we read Geneva. I actually have this here. That was not planned. First, we read Geneva, and I gave this a 3.5. Maybe a little harsh on the rating, but I just feel like because I didn't love the plot twist, like saw most of the plot play out before it did, it can't really be higher than that. Then we read The Crash by Freida McFadden, which is an advanced copy of this book, which comes out in January. Very exciting stuff. This was very different to like Freida's normal works, I can tell, in a good way, like in a really good way, but the ending did start to get a little bit repetitive. It was very much kind of like Groundhog Day towards the end. Still enjoyed it, gave it 4 star. I think this is one of Freida's better books, if I dare say that. And then finally read Christmas Presents by Lisa Unger, which I absolutely loved. Really, really recommend this, and gave it 4.5. Let me know if you've read any of these books or if you'll be picking them up over the winter period. I've tried to make them like mainly wintry themed as opposed to like Christmas specifically, so you can still read them in January. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I cannot wait to see you next time.